Hello everyone, welcome to Gwyneth Technology, right? So now let me start the very interesting traffic, like the topic that is the Zscaler, that is the use the concept that is a proxy chaining and the port forwarding. So basically this is the advanced topic that is part of the GCCP, that is the professional level certification. You want to do that, then these concept might be you have to aware. But we'll understand because they are the very key component. It might be you heard about this concept while doing this Zscaler. So what are the agenda for this topic? So we'll understand two concepts in this session. What is the proxy chaining that is used in the Zscaler, and what is the port forwarding we have to use the Zscaler, and how it is going to be configured. So we'll see some sample configuration examples for the different vendor firewalls, and in addition of that, we'll understand the concept. Okay, so let's understand first the concept. What is the proxy chaining? So if you talk about the proxy chaining, that means send the traffic from one proxy to another proxy. So let's suppose this is the one proxy, this proxy A, right? And this is the proxy B, right? So if any user-based traffic is going to land from your internal network, might be this switch and then router to this proxy, then you want to send this traffic to another proxy, and then it is going to the internet. So this is the proxy chaining. So you just have to understand. So proxy chaining, in terms of that, it could be your in-house proxy. Just take an example is the blue code proxy, right? And this is a Zscaler proxy. This is my Zscaler proxy, and this is my blue code proxy. So these are two proxies. So I'm receiving the traffic from the proxy A, that is a blue code proxy, and when I'm going to send this proxy traffic to another proxy, Zscaler proxy, that is known as a proxy chaining. So proxy chaining involves the forwarding the traffic from one proxy server, this is the proxy server A, to another proxy server. This method, this method is going to leverage your additional means the existing proxy which you are using in your infra. Let's suppose your company is using the blue code proxy already, and Zscaler is also one of the proxy. So if you don't want to change any setting in the current network, why this going to come in a picture? You don't want to change any current setting in the current network. So there is a way still your all user traffic which is landing in in-house proxy, and you want to send to Zscaler proxy, then this is the easiest way to just integrate these two proxies together, and still you can send the traffic from the your in-house proxy to Zscaler proxy, right? But you have to understand one more thing. This method, the proxy chaining method, is basically is not recommended by the Zscaler. It's not recommended. Why? Why this is not recommended? Because this is not a long-term solution, and this is not user-friendly solution. It is just recommended when you want to do some POC. You want to verify the Zscaler services, right? So you want to do the proof of concept, then it is recommended. But in the normal scenario, this is not recommended for the long-term solution, because this proxy server that does not that support the failover, generally support the manual failover. Automatic failover is not supportable. So anything goes down and you want to do the failover, it is not possible, right? So you can see here we having some kind of the definition proxy chaining. So proxy chaining involves the forwarding traffic from the one proxy to another proxy. Advantage: leverage the existing proxy server, might be whatever the server I have, I can leverage that. No changes is going to be required in my network. Quick and easy way to forward the traffic to the Zscaler means I can use the legacy servers, that is a proxy server, I can send the traffic to the Zscaler. And this is the ideal for the evaluation process, means if you want to do the proof of concept, that is going to be used. So these are the advantage of this proxy chaining when you are going to integrate two proxies together in the Zscaler. But we have another disadvantages as well. So what is the disadvantage? Not recommended for the long-term solution. Why? Because they have in the manual failover. Right? So manual failover only is available for this proxy server with the failover support, not recommended for the production environment. You can just use for the POC kind of the stuff. It is just not recommended, because you can see this in this diagram. You can see we having a lot of vendors, like we having the blue code, we having the WebSense, we having the Squid, we having a TMG and other vendors. So this is your internal proxy, you already in-house proxy, and your traffic is going to land through the pack file or WCCP, another method, to this proxy, and from there you're sending the traffic to another proxy. So you are just chaining two proxy together, and this become the proxy chaining, right? But this is just huge when you having the proof of concept requirement, means you want to test the Zscaler services, how my traffic is going to work via the Zscaler. It's not recommended, means the POC kind of the stuff, it's not recommended to use in the live environment, right? So by deploying this, you can realize how my traffic was, secure while using the in-house proxy, and now how much additional advantage I'm going to get when I'm doing the this Zscaler proxy solution. So later you can remove this proxy. End of the day, you have to remove this policy, and from the user directly you start sending the traffic to the Zscaler. So you can bypass the hopes, right? So you can remove the cost, you can remove the complexity. So anything you can do that. So this is how it is going to be happen. But when you want to deploy this solution, we have the various way to deploy it, right? So the first way, whenever you want to deploy this, you just have to open a tag case with a Zscaler. So why the tag case is going to require? Because based on your proxy IP address in the location and whatever the public IP you are going to get, based on that, they have to create the new location. Even you can create yourself as well, but you are very new, then it might be Zscaler tag is going to help you to create, or you can do if you have the knowledge how to get the location, how to map my static IP and all, then you can do that. So open a tag case with the Zscaler and create the new locations. This is the first step that Zscaler engineer is going to help you. Use the static IP address, public IP address, most important for of your existing public proxy server. And then your Zscaler admin portal, Zscaler tag engineer will add the new location with the new public IP address for the existing server, and they are going to complete some general information about the location, including that is your site name, that is a country, state, time zone, public IP address detail, and the proxy server detail. And once it is just going to done, your proxy configuration, that is the proxy chaining, is completed, right? And this configuration is going to vary depend on the different vendors. So proxy, configure your proxy server to perform the proxy chaining, means from your proxy you have the feasibility vendor configuration is going to be required to just complete these all processes. So Zscaler will do these three parts, and last part you have to do on your proxy server. So we have some kind of the snapshot that is not much clear, but you can see here. Here we have the example Microsoft ISA server, where we just leveraging the proxy chaining solution. So in this ISA server, you can see here we just have to define some kind of the traffic based on the rule, and we have to allow for the all user for internal to external. You can just focus here. So there is a rule here. So we having the all internet access. We have to define based on these two protocols, HTTP and HTTPS, internal to external for the all user. So this kind of the rules you just have to define. And so this example, you can see the ISA server is just deploying the simple policy rule configuration permit the web traffic to the internet from the internal to external network. Then the next step, once you create the permit rule here, the next step also you have to define some kind of the proxy setting. So in the ISA server, you just have to go in the configuration network, and you just have to edit the default and create the action redirection from the specific upstream server. So you just have to redirect this setting to just send to Zscaler, and you just have to provide the Zscaler URL, just node details, and then your gateway, server gateway, whatever you have, and the Zscaler name. So on this, it could be valid to different vendor, and thus then you just provide the Zscaler gateway name, that's the port 80, SL port 80. Then it is going to redirect all the traffic to the Zscaler. So it's a pretty straightforward. One, the rule is going to be required. After defining the rule, then you just have to define the redirection process, and then it is start doing the proxy chaining process, right? And that's all. So this is how it is going to happen. So all proxy connection to the Microsoft ISA server will be now forwarded to the resilience pair of the node, and that is going to be Zscaler. So you can just define the primary and secondary gateway as well. So in case of the anything goes down, you can do the manual failover. So this is how it is going to happen. So the proxies chaining is nothing. It's just like you have to just chain one proxy traffic to the another proxy traffic by using this configuration. Now we having the second concept here, right? Second concept we have, that is a port forwarding, right? So what is the port forwarding method we have? So you can see here the port forwarding. So this is another way to just forward the traffic to the Zscaler. So let's suppose I have the firewalls and uh, based on the ports, let's suppose all the traffic is landing to my firewall. Let me just open the one of the diagram so you can guys visualize it. So let's suppose this is my firewall. Okay. This is my internal firewall. This could be the Palo firewall. This could be the ASA firewall. This could be the checkpoint firewall. This could be the Shopos firewall. Any could be the firewall. My all traffic is landing to this firewall. So there is a way to do the port forwarding as well. So I can forward the port. I can forward the port to the specific destination for the specific port kind of traffic. So that could be the my Zscaler. So if I am receiving the traffic from the different user, I want to forward them to the Zscaler. So I can use the port forwarding method as well. So my specific port 80 and 443 traffic is going to be gen, and rest of the traffic is just going to direct. This is the possible feature we have. But again, we just have to understand a little bit their advantage and disadvantage as well. So you can see, if your perimeter firewall means your legacy Palo Alto, checkpoint, suppose whatever the firewall trying to forward the traffic based on the port and protocol to another destination, another host, you can do by doing the port forwarding method on going port HTTP to the any Zscaler destination or any Zscaler Gen node, right? So here you can see the advantage is this method is leverage your existing firewall. So by the help of the existing firewall, you can do this redirection or sending the traffic. No additional changes in the network is going to require. The network is going to be same whatever network you have. Quick and easy way to forward the traffic Zscaler for the evaluation purpose, right? You want to just do the proof of concept, that can you do that. But again, disadvantage, this is not recommended and does not support the HTTPS traffic to redirect it. This is also a problem. Only can send the HTTP traffic, and they don't have the automatic failover as well. So there is a lot of disadvantage, but you want to just inspect the HTTP traffic. You want to use the POC kind of the stuff, that can be, way of deploying this method. So that's why if your perimeter firewall support the port forwarding method to another host, you can configure it the forwarding outgoing HTTP traffic to Zscaler. This method leverage your existing firewall with no additional change to the network. It's a quick and easy way to forward the traffic to the Zscaler services for the proof of concept purpose. This Zscaler does not recommend this port forwarding for the long-term solution because it is also not going to support your HTTP and the automatic failover. This is the quick summary, and we're having a lot of disadvantage as well. So this is the way how it is going to happen. So moving next, right? So you can see in this diagram, the clients are receiving the various traffic on the port 80, and when you want to send the traffic, you just have to do the quick configuration in your firewall end, and then it is going to forward the traffic. And how it is going to happen, so before you just make this happen for this port forwarding, just you have to need to connect with the tag case. So you just have to do by your own configuration. By again, you have to create the location management. You just have to create the static IP address configuration for the public IP for the port forwarding on the Zscaler portal, right? So you just static IP address for the firewall performing the port forwarding. In the Zscaler admin portal, add the new locations and public IP address of the firewalls, that, and complete the general information. And now you just have to go your firewall and you have to do the port forwarding configuration. So similar like the proxy chaining, you have to define the proxy information. Here you just have to define the public IP of the firewall, and your firewall you just have to do the port forwarding configuration, right? And this is again very again vendor to vendor configuration. So I'm just going to show you the one vendor configuration, and that is going to be vendor to vendor configuration. This is for the Juniper SSG5 firewall configuration, how the port forwarding is going to happen. So simple, you just have to go in the firewall in policy. If you have the Juniper firewall, you just have to go in the policy and create the new policy, trust to untrust zone. And similar you can do in the like the Palo Alto firewall also. And port 80 originating from this network will be translated and forwarded to the any other destination, and click on the advanced, right? So this all configuration you have to do, right? You can see here we having the option here, the let me just zoom out a little bit. So you can see here we just having the option, we can go in the policy, we have this network can be HTTPS and any address, and then we just have to go in the advanced, And after going in advanced, we'll have the another option. We just have to create the rules. So in this rule, we just have to allow the HTTP traffic, which is going to any, it is source to any destination, right? So translated IP Zscaler node. So set a translated IP as a Zscaler node and configure the port map as a 80. Click OK, then policy will be the completed, and this is how you can do the port forwarding. So it's a pretty straightforward. You just have to follow few steps, and then it is going to happen the port forwarding. Similarly, in the Palo Alto firewall, you just have to go in the translation and you just get that, how the port can be translated from one port to another port. So NAT configuration is also there. Similar here, also required the policy, and you just have to do the translation of the ports and translation of the IP from one IP to another IP with a different port services. All right. So this is all about the two concept, proxy chaining, and we understand about the port forwarding. So I hope this is very informative for you all, right? And